Question for Spencer's scale of agreement. Should Oregon keep playing Oregon State in football? Yes. Yes. Did you know that at this moment, the 2025 Civil War is slated to be the last one ever played? Oregon has to adjust its schedule. I'll talk about that more later on today's show. Oregon has to adjust its schedule to play the matchup beyond this year. A couple of reasons why this matchup should continue. First of all, history and tradition mean something. Oregon and Oregon State playing football every single year. No, it's not the same as what it once was. That does not mean there is not value to still playing the football game. It is good for Oregon State. It is definitely better for Oregon State to both keep themselves in the national spotlight and give them an opportunity to pick up a landmark win for their program. Yes, no, there is definitely greater upside for Oregon State with less downside. I understand that particular argument, but my everydayers out there know I am a traditionalist, and college football seasons don't just come and go without Oregon playing Oregon State and Washington. That should happen every single year. But I'm just extending an olive branch to the folks that are in the camp, and I know they're out there. I know you guys are out there and are passionate on the mat. I get it. I fully get it. I just don't happen to agree. That's okay. Reasonable people can disagree. But you keep playing the game because college football, to me, doesn't exist if that game, it exists, but it doesn't exist in the form that it is supposed to if that game is not played. So that's the first thing. The second thing, and the way that it does actually benefit Oregon, is twofold. Reason number one, Oregon is doing a lot of traveling in the Big Ten. This has been well established. Do you remember that Oregon goes to Piscataway this year? Oregon's got to go to Rutgers. They've got to go to Northwestern. They've got to go to Penn State. It's a lot of miles. I travel to Southern Utah football. The travel in our conference is, it can be brutal sometimes, no doubt about it. It can wear on you. And I'm just calling the game. I'm not playing the game. I'm just calling it. And after several weeks, you can get in a place where you're like, man, I just want to be home. I just want to sleep in my own bed. I just want to be in a routine. I don't want to be in a hotel. It's really, really easy. And the longer trips, they can wear on you. So having a non-conference game every single year that is either a home game that you know people are going to want to attend and will have that extra level of juice always because it's a rivalry game, no matter what is happening with Oregon State football and how wrong it is and such. The road game is 45 minutes away, maybe an hour, if that. You don't have to get on a plane. You're just bussing across. Saving some travel time, I think, does have some value. So Rob Mullins was recently talking with John Canzano about this and said that, they have a dialogue between Oregon and Oregon State to, keep the matchup going and try to extend it beyond. But they're going to have to drop a game in the next couple of years to get something on the schedule. The Apple Cup, Washington State, by the way, has been renewed. I forget through the exact year, but that's continuing through 2030. And they're just going to go back and forth. They played it on a neutral site last year. That was a short-term solution. Now they're going to Pullman. Then they'll be in Seattle as, it was back in the days of the Pac-12. RIP. That's what I would like to see Oregon and Oregon State do. I really, really would. And so the other way that this benefits Oregon, in addition to the travel component, is I don't know if Trent Bray is going to be a great head coach. I think he can be pretty good. I think that the fact that they got Malik Murphy, who was one of my top 5 quarterbacks available in the portal this offseason cycle, he went to Oregon State. They ponied up somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.5 million in NIL. There are people that care about that program. And in the New World Pac-12, Oregon State is going to expect to be a team that competes, and they're going to expect to be a program that can therefore push for a college football playoff spot. Well, if you're trying to put together a quality non-conference schedule for the Ducks that includes wins that boost their resume to potentially get them a better seed, which now actually benefits you rather than what we had in the 12-team playoff last year, then yes, there will be years where beating Oregon State, I'm not saying it's a game changer for the schedule, but it's half a feather in the cap. If you're talking about a plate of food, my whatever I'd want. This is kind of dark, but if I were to have a last meal and I knew it was my last meal, steak, mashed potatoes, béarnaise, roasted vegetables, warm berry cobbler with ice cream, and I would like a cup of gumbo to start. This is like the cup of gumbo in the meal. Okay? If you took it away, you can still have a great meal. But is it perfect without the cup of gumbo there? No. I love a good appetizer, especially if it's Blue Bayou gumbo at Disneyland. Whew, that's the good stuff. So, I hope more people than not agree with me that Oregon should keep playing Oregon State. It's not an FCS opponent, so when Oregon beats them, people are going to say, oh, you're playing a nobody or whatnot. No, there will be years where the Oregon State game is a non-zero contributor to Oregon's strength of schedule, and we know that that can indeed matter in college football. So I would like for that to continue. If you don't, I'd love to hear the counter arguments and such. So let's get to this question from Zahim. I know this video is a few days old, so I'm late. No, it's okay. It's called evergreen content, which is frankly most of the content I'm doing right now. If I wanted to, not going to, but if I wanted to, I could sit here and record today's show, tomorrow's show, and Friday's show, and then just be done with my work for the week. But, I've got another show that I do. By the time week 15 rolls around, Oregon's starting secondary will be Ife Obadegwu and Jaleel Florence at the corners, with Sione Laulea rotating and offered at nickel, with T. Johnson rotating. Now, I'm going to presume, and I hope we're all here at this point, we all remember that T. Johnson is not Tysheem Johnson, that he's not in Oregon secondary anymore. That'd be Theron Johnson, the transfer from Theron, not exactly sure on the pronunciation there, but Theron Johnson, the transfer from Northwestern, who's, I believe, was a Big Ten honorable mention last year, the year before. He's solid. So by week 15, that's an important qualifier here. Zahim, my guy, this is an 8 on Spencer's scale of agreement. That's very high. Very, very high. And the reason I have it at an 8 instead of what would have been a 6 normally is because you said by the time week 15 rolls around. I'm curious to see if the secondary will have some mixing and matching the way you might have in the receiving room, especially with no Evan Stewart in there, and the way you did have with the offensive line last year. But Ife and Jaleel, I think those are going to be Oregon's 2 starting corners when they roll out the first team defense on August 30th against Montana State. I love the Sione Laulea pick. 6'3", really athletic, was on the 2 deep last year, didn't play a bunch of meaningful snaps, was a top JUCO recruit last cycle for Oregon, and I think he's one of the most underrated guys, maybe the most underrated guy in this secondary room. I think his physical traits are really, really interesting. He looked the part last year, and what I saw from him on the field. I think the question will be run defense. He's a little bit skinny, little wiry. Maybe they needed a year to kind of bulk him up a bit, but then rotating Naeem Offord, the highest rated Oregon secondary recruit ever in the history of the program, at nickel with Theron Johnson rotating. Yeah, I can see that too. Like, no matter how talented you are or what position you play, it's so hard to play as a true freshman. So hard. And Dan Lanning has played them. Not a ton in the last several years. They have played. Offord is certainly a guy that has a chance to play as a true freshman. Him and Johnson going back and forth. It could remind me of a basketball example for the Ducks. KJ Evans and Brandon Angel. Start of the year, Brandon Angel is outplaying KJ Evans. Why? He's a veteran, he's more experienced. Evans, younger, bit more raw, has more potential. By the end of the season, not at the start of the year, but at the end of the season, KJ Evans is the guy who was on the court late, and he was playing way more minutes than Brandon Angel was. I think you could have that situation with Theron Johnson if they want to play him at nickel, or whoever they wind up putting there. Maybe Kennedy, the transfer from Ole Miss, could be in that spot as well. But by the end of the year, Offord gets up to speed, got the playbook down, acclimating to the college game. Yeah, that guy's potential is is to be one of the best secondary players in all of college football.